in those early days, I mean, I know it's still like, startup days, but in those really early days, was it difficult in that environment? Was it difficult to land a sale?
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously we had a lot of things going against us. We were unknown. We had a small team. We didn't have a track record. I think every startup goes through this, but ultimately you immediately begin to identify the patterns on who your ICP and who your ideal customer profile is. And we settled on a very specific niche in our first year.
If you land one airline, let's say Lufthansa or Delta or something, does that immediately get you all of their cargoes?
It does. So everything now is like definitely 100 times easier than it was in my first month. So remember my first month, I was like a one person like thing trying to sell enterprise software to airlines. We ended up finding a couple of airlines that were really great to work with. They were really quick to get set up. And that eventually opened up the deal for a large Middle Eastern airline, right? I would have never been able to get that had I not done those fast ones early on.
How did you get that one? The Middle Eastern one?
That one I got pretty lucky because the incoming CIO knew of me.
How did he know of you?
This one was an interesting story. So he was a former consulting client in Singapore. And essentially at the time he was working for a pharmaceutical company. And I was actually just on a consulting project and helping him like optimize his logistics stack. And my wife got pissed at me because like I ended up ending the contract early because like, we had finished up and I honestly could have just sat there and just showed up and gotten like a lot of money to stay on for another 3 months. And then you can imagine like my wife was super pissed because now for the next like month or two, like I was just kind of sitting at home, like farting around. Right. But he remembered that. And so you can imagine like that moment that I had not thought about at the time, like circles back. Now all of a sudden he's like the CIO of like a large Middle Eastern airline. Right. So I think if you do good by people, like that always will come through. Same thing with SpaceX. Like SpaceX, I would actively like tell them like when they were being irresponsible to ask for certain things because like the ROI wasn't there, right? But they remembered that I'm doing things that I would have done in that situation rather than somebody who's just optimizing for running up the bill.
Is that a principle that you carry on throughout your life? Of like, because we've talked before about networking and making connections and things like this, and how honestly it's so much easier if you actually just do the right thing, and like be a good person. It's like, it's crazy how simple that advice is, but how few people still follow these principles. So you think about that in like business decisions and people that you're meeting, you're just trying to help them, help yourself. Like, how do you look at that?
But to be clear, it's a curse, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's lay a scenario out there. Let's say that you're at a dinner table with, I don't know, a potential customer, and he's like rude to the waiter.
Yeah.
Do you say something?
I guess it depends on the level of the rudeness.
Right. So do you see what I mean? So do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's to be clear, it's a curse because
Yeah.
you're also putting yourself in a situation where you're pissing people off
Yeah.
if you stay true to your values and you're authentic. So it's not a good thing. And like there are times when like my wife is kicking me on the table because she knows I'm going to open my mouth about something, and I'm like physically incapable of doing it.
Hey, if you enjoyed this quick clip, check out the full episode of Winning Friends linked below.